Let's do one more
Yeah.
item. Actually, why don't we do this?
Yes.
It's probably a good break time. So we do have with us USDB, and we've got our superintendent's report. So let's take a break here, and if we could invite up our USDB friends, we'll go into that item and then come back to committees in a little bit. All right, welcome, Superintendent Coleman and the team. Good to have you.
Thank you.
You want me to just turn it to you to steer?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, that would be fine. Let's see, I think the first item we have is finances. So, Carl, you can take it away.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chairs, and board members. It's a pleasure to be here. We've got two financial reports, and I know you're pressed on time, so I'm going to go really fast. The important thing is we are financially solvent. We have enough cash on hand to pay our bills, and so the first financial report is how we closed out the year. And we're not completely closed out yet because the state is doing a calculation on the other pension and employment benefit costs. That won't be done till the end of the month. So these numbers that we're going to view are subject to change. They will change. They shouldn't change dramatically, but I just want to let you know they will change. The dollar amount of the inflows that we received, I can't believe year to year how much this has grown, is $54.3 million that came into USDB. Our expenses that we paid were $50.9 million, leaving us a balance of $3.4 million. So financially, we're secure. I think that amount's going to go down to the $2 million and change number by the time we completely close out the fiscal year. The student count, we're still waiting for the month of September to get the student count in. They haven't, the numbers here on the report are the same as you heard last month. Our land grant enrichment fund balance is I'm just going to round this up, $261,000. Our donated funds is $270,000, and our education foundation is $1,087,000. The next two pages are all the supporting detail of the numbers on that first report, the financial report. The last report we have is enrichment funds. And the good news is we spent the majority of our land grant enrichment funds. This is the money that spins off the land grant trust fund that we use to dedicate and provide enrichment opportunities to our students based on all the categories are highlighted in blue in that third column from the left. Of the $1,542,000 that you approved last year, we spent $1,339,000, leaving us a balance of about $203,000. So I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone may have how the fiscal year ended.
Not seeing any.
Okay.
Looking good. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Then I'll jump to period 1 for July 31st. And as I get into these numbers, I just want you to remember about 80% of our total expense is payroll. And so we hadn't ramped up all the payroll through the month of July, so we've got more revenues by about $3 million than we do expenses. That's going to change. The state gives us about $3.5 million. Let me put my glasses on, and I can tell you exactly, $3,537,000 a month to be able to pay our payroll expenses. So we ended the July with a $3.3 million surplus. We will report next month our student counts. Our land grant trust fund balance, I'm going to hold off on that till next month, till we close out fiscal year end. But that's going to be in that $260,000 range that we ended the fiscal year with. Our donated funds is $270,000, and our education foundation is $1,082,000. And then there really hasn't been much activity on the enrichment funds. We spent about $36,000 is all. That's going to ramp up as the year progresses. So those are the two financial reports, Mr. Chair. And again, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I think we're seeing no comments or questions. Back to Superintendent Coleman.
Thank you. One item we went over to get to the financial report is the approval of the contracts we have with all the school districts. This is a routine item. We do it every year, and it all comes together about this time as the districts determine how many students they have that they need our help in serving. So any of these contracts do not represent all of our contracts with districts, only those above the $100,000 threshold that require yours. 75 contracts here, or total? We have a total of 75 contracts. This is only a small portion of that. So we need a vote from the board to approve those contracts.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Superintendent, we had, do we bring the motion forward now, I think? Yeah, I'm sorry. I have no question about the next item. All right. Is Member Davis, Member Booth? I should be looking here. You're ready for the motion. Sorry.
I move that we approve. My mind just went blank.
Contract.
The district billing contracts.
Second? Second?
Second.
Discussion of the motion? If not, all in favor, please raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Show of hands. Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you, Superintendent.
Thank you. The last item we have, well, there's a little superintendent's report, but not much to it. So the important item today, I'll put it that way, that we have is a brief division report from the Jean Massou School of the Deaf. As you remember, each board meeting, we try to highlight one of our divisions so that you'll be more familiar with it. So Superintendent Tanner, we'll turn that over to you.
Good afternoon. I'm Superintendent Tanner. I'm going to present today about one of our programs within the School for the Deaf. It's a campus program in the Salt Lake area. It's called the Jean Massou School of the Deaf, named after the first teacher of the deaf here in the country. It's located in Salt Lake. It serves Salt Lake, but it also brings in a lot of students from Wasatch, Davis, Eagle Mountain, Tooele. They come from distances to get to us. It serves from pre-K to post-high, and we can only serve students there that have a diagnosed hearing loss. They can either qualify through an IEP or a 504. It includes listening and spoken language and American Sign Language. That's a unique feature that we've been adding together, that as we have gotten along better and as we are working collaboratively together, now we're all housed in one program, one division. So that's a great success. We also follow the Utah State Core for instruction, so you understand that we are following the Utah State Core, but we obviously have to make adaptations for our students who have IEPs and things of that nature. Our class sizes are between 5 and 12, depending on the class or the age or the needs of the students. And there are currently about 146 students there with about 30 teachers. So I wanted to show you briefly, these are the buildings that we operate out of on the Salt Lake campus for the Jean Massou School. So you'll recognize the one on 33rd, the OAC. This is that portable we've talked about that we've moved over from Mill Creek. We're not quite ready to use it yet. It's not occupiable just at this point. We're waiting for the fire marshal to give us that. So we are operating in little tiny spaces and within the building. We recently have chosen not to be using the little house because it now has black mold and literally mushrooms coming out of the carpet, and it floods, so it's not safe. So we had to figure out spaces for the people that were in that building too. So that is just to give you an idea of the spaces that we're trying to utilize right now. And then I'll go back over here. I'm going to have the director of that school. You can see all the pictures here. These are just activities we've done, but I'm going to highlight this one because it has behind it the director of the school, and she is explaining about the program that we have at the Jean Mousseau School. This is Rachel Benedict, and she is the director of the Jean Mousseau School. I hope that's out loud.
Hello, my name is Rachel Benedict. I am the director at the Jean Mousseau School of the Deaf, or JMS. We are a school within the School for the Deaf at the Utah Schools for the Deaf and Blind. We primarily serve deaf and hard of hearing students in the Salt Lake area, anywhere from the age of 3 years old to post-high school. In order to enroll at JMS, there needs to be an IEP or 504 team meeting convened with the district or charter school. During this meeting, we discuss the students' personalized goals, needs, and accommodations, and where placement would be best for them. We are an option for placement for students that are deaf or hard of hearing and live in Salt Lake City or the surrounding areas. For most students, the least restricted environment may be their home school. However, for deaf students, that can be the most restrictive environment. And a specialized school like JMS is actually the least restricted environment. For a child, a school for the deaf is a language-rich environment and helps them thrive socially, academically, and emotionally. At JMS, we follow the Utah State Core Curriculum Standards and adapt as appropriate for students with an Individualized Education Plan, or IEP, or their 504 accommodation and communication needs. JMS provides the students with a strong sense of belonging. They have the opportunity to connect with students like themselves without interpreters. This is the only environment that allows them to directly communicate with peers and teachers. We also provide a myriad of extracurricular activities for our students specifically designed to meet their needs. For example, we have football, the Academic Bowl, and robotics, plus many more. The beauty of JMS is that we provide our students access to very specialized staff that are highly trained in how we best educate deaf and hard of hearing students. Most of the teachers have master's degrees that specialize in delivering the curriculum in American Sign Language, and others that address the spoken language needs of our students. Our professionals work together to deliver a very personalized education to each student. We work very closely with all of our families. For preschool students, our teachers have parent coaching sessions and communicate with them daily. Also, for our elementary, middle school, and high school students, teachers have constant contact with our parents through emailing, phone calls, and face-to-face meetings. Finally, we do have different events like Winter Performance, where we welcome our families to come and watch. We offer ASL classes to the families of our students that we offer both in person and on Zoom. We have a very robust PTA organization that hosts a variety of different events and fundraising opportunities, and we always welcome our families to be more involved here at JMS.
All right, that is our report from the Jean Mousseau Schools. If you have any questions, I would love to entertain them. This is our largest campus that we have, and you will hear the most about this campus because it has the largest numbers. And and for some of you, you think, oh, 146 doesn't seem big. That's pretty huge. Actually, in the deaf community and deaf schools across the nation, 146 at one campus is pretty amazing.
All right. I don't see any questions, so
good.
Superintendent
Thank
Coleman.
you.
Okay, thank you. The final thing we have is just a short report. I just wanted to brief you today on kind of the opening of school, which happened 3 weeks ago. We have generally, things are going fine, and we always make adjustments at the beginning. It does seem like there's a full moon or something. We've got some behavior problems with a few kids that are taking a lot of resources and human resources. I'm hearing that from other schools outside our system too. It's just the world we live in right now. And some of the staff even having challenges, but we're good overall. Things are just fine. Nothing that the board needs to be worried about at this point. And then the last thing I wanted to update you on the buildings, you heard Superintendent Tanner say that we're not quite able to use the portable. It's there, it's hooked up, just waiting on the alarm company and fire marshal to finish that. And it didn't matter how early we requested that. It's just, we're at their mercy. And so we will move in within an hour when they give us the thumbs up. It's all ready except for that. Activity Center in Ogden is pretty much complete now, and that's been great. And then we plan to report to the EAC in September. I noticed that meeting was moved to Utah Technical College.
Down in Davis.
UT.
I mean, down in, not
Yes.
Davis, down in I was going to say
Yeah,
Dixie, but
the college
St. George.
previously known as Dixie.
Previous.
Anyway, so if we're going to be on the agenda, we'll be there. And hopefully they can move along with that funding. We've been in communication with DFCM about starting the Salt Lake project, which was everyone's desire, but we haven't gotten them quite moving on it yet, so hopefully that'll happen soon. And that's everything for now. We'll let you get back to your previously scheduled meetings.
Which we're anxious for. So thank you. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you taking the time to come to our full board meeting today. So